Chosen one. Listen with the fullness of your heart. Because this moment is not ordinary, it is a holy interruption. Heaven has pressed pause on the noise around you so that your spirit may hear clearly. The long night of waiting has ended. The season of silence, of wondering if God had forgotten you, is over. A new chapter opens before your very eyes. You may not realize it yet, but every tear you cried, every lonely walk you endured, every prayer whispered in the dark, it was not wasted. The divine pause was never punishment. It was preparation. You are not like the rest. You have always felt the tension of being different, misunderstood, even rejected. But what you called rejection, Heaven calls redirection. What you thought was abandonment was actually God hiding you, keeping you out of reach until the appointed time. And now, the announcement comes forth. You have succeeded. You endured the wilderness without giving up. You stood when others fell. You held on even when your hands trembled. And now, the wait is finally over. You must understand, chosen one, the way heaven works is never by accident. Every delay was divine strategy. Every disappointment was a disguised doorway. You wanted things sooner, but the Father knew the perfect moment. He knew that what He has planned for you is too precious to be rushed, and so He shielded you, even from yourself, until your heart was strong enough, until your faith was unshakable, until your spirit was ready to carry the glory that is now being released into your life. And at the center of this release stands a gift more powerful than you imagined, the arrival of a soulmate, a divine counterpart. This is not about ordinary romance, not about fleeting attraction. This is about destiny partnership. Two chosen ones, drawn together by heaven's hand, to walk as one. You are about to encounter the one whose spirit echoes yours, the one who carries a flame that will ignite with your own. This is why you could never settle. This is why you always felt like something was missing when you tried to fit into the wrong connections. Your soul knew what your mind could not explain. You were reserved for a covenant love, for someone anointed to walk beside you in purpose. Do you feel the stirring even now, that tightening in your chest, that awareness rising within? It is confirmation that this is your moment. The wait was not in vain. Heaven has already set the stage. Paths are being aligned. Doors are opening. What once felt impossible will suddenly stand before you as undeniable reality. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. This word was not only for a distant people long ago, it is alive today. It is a decree over your life right now. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak, it all bent toward this promise. The plan has always been to prosper you, to give you hope, to lead you into a future filled with divine appointments and holy joy. That future is no longer far off. It is here, chosen one. You must now rise with expectation. Do not let doubt steal what heaven has delivered. Do not let the scars of the past blind you to the beauty of what is arriving. A powerful soulmate is coming not because you begged, not because you manipulated, but because God promised. And when God promises, He fulfills. You are stepping into the manifestation of what was spoken over you. This is the moment where you declare it boldly. This is the hour where you choose faith over fear. And this is the reason you are hearing these words right now, because God wanted you to know that He has remembered you, that your season has shifted, and that your heart is about to be set on fire by the one created to walk beside you. Pause right here. Let gratitude flood your spirit. Whisper thanks for the years of waiting, for the nights that felt endless, because now they are crowned with meaning. The wait was the proof of your faith, and the end of waiting is the proof of God's faithfulness. Chosen one. If this word speaks to the depths of your being, do not keep it to yourself. Share it so others may awaken. Like and subscribe so you remain connected to the flow of messages designed for your destiny. And type boldly in the comments the number 777 as your prophetic act of alignment. Heaven is watching. Your declaration marks your readiness. The wait is over. The fulfillment begins. Step forward. Chosen one. You remember those years of silence, don't you? The long stretches when heaven seemed quiet, when prayers floated upward and no answers returned. You wondered if your voice reached the throne, or if the sky had turned into bronze above you. These were your lonely wilderness years. At times, they crushed you. At times, you felt the ache of being misunderstood, abandoned, even forsaken. Yet, in truth, those very seasons were God's fire shaping you. The wilderness is not punishment, it is refinement. Just as gold is tested by fire until impurities rise and are burned away, so too were you tested. The wilderness stripped away what could not stay with you in the next chapter. It taught you what human hands could never teach. You learned how to stand when no one clapped for you. You learned how to endure when no one came to rescue you. You learned how to trust God when there was nothing left but His word. Beloved, do not despise what the wilderness made of you. You see, others may look at your scars and only notice pain. But heaven looks and sees proof that you were chosen to carry something rare. Without the lonely years, you would not have learned discernment. Without the wilderness, you would not have grown strong enough to recognize the counterfeit. Every lonely night taught you to treasure true presence. Every rejection trained you to wait for covenant instead of compromise. Many times you questioned, "Why me? Lord, why must I always walk alone?" Yet in truth, you were never truly alone. Even when people abandoned you, even when friends betrayed you, even when family misunderstood you, heaven stood near. God's silence was not absence, it was strategy. Silence forged your ears to hear beyond noise, to recognize the still, small whisper that speaks louder than thunder. Chosen one. Hear this. The wilderness was your sacred training ground. You were being prepared not just for love, but for holy partnership. You had to be made strong. For the person coming into your life is not ordinary, and neither is the assignment attached to your union. You cannot step into covenant while still chained to desperation. That is why the wilderness broke those chains off of you. It purified your desire, teaching you that what you need is not another body to fill a void, but a soul aligned to your destiny. Think of the great ones before you. Joseph endured prison before the palace. David hid in caves before the crown. Even our Lord was led into the wilderness for 40 days before his public ministry began. The pattern is clear. Wilderness always precedes glory. And your life has followed that same sacred pattern. What you thought was delay was actually a doorway into destiny. You carried your cross of solitude. You endured the weight of silence, and now you stand ready. Not because you sought shortcuts, but because you allowed the wilderness to do its work. That is why you are different. Why you carry a depth others cannot fake. You are marked by endurance, and that endurance has prepared you for the weight of the blessing about to arrive. According to what is revealed in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 2, when you pass through waters, I will be with you. Through the rivers, not swept over. Through the fire, not burned. Chosen one. This is the truth about your wilderness years. The waters did not drown you. The fire did not consume you. And the loneliness did not destroy you. You emerged, not weaker, but stronger. Not bitter, but wiser. You came through. And that is the proof that God's hand has been upon you all along. Now, as you look back on the lonely paths you once walked, may you see them differently. Those were not wasted years. They were invested years. Every silent night was a classroom. Every unreturned call was a lesson. Every unanswered prayer was shaping the exact strength you will need to sustain the covenant soulmate being sent your way. Without the wilderness, you would not be ready. With it, you are unshakable, chosen one. The wilderness was never meant to last forever. It was only a passageway into your promise. And now, the days of walking alone are ending. The fire has refined you. The silence has sharpened you. The tears have watered the soil of your destiny. And the harvest is about to spring forth. Lift your head, because the wilderness is behind you. You are stepping out into a new land, and soon, the one heaven has chosen for you will step onto your path. Together, you will recognize that the lonely years were not empty. They were the foundation upon which your covenant is about to be built. Chosen one. Every scar you carry tells a story of endurance. Every betrayal you endured. Every door slammed in your face. Every season of heartbreak, none of it was wasted. Those tests were not random cruelty. They were divinely appointed chisels shaping the stone of your character. Without them, you would not be able to handle the magnitude of what is now approaching your life. The blessing you are stepping into required a purified vessel, one tested and proven through trial. Do you remember the ones who mocked you, who said you were too much, too intense, too different? They could not see that heaven was building a warrior out of you. Do you recall the people who abandoned you at your lowest moments? Their absence was God's protection. Because those who cannot value you in the valley do not deserve to stand beside you on the mountain. The heartbreaks that once felt like death were actually resurrection in disguise, forcing you to release what was unworthy so your hands could be free to receive the divine. Chosen one. You did not fail those tests. You passed them, not because you were flawless, but because you did not quit. You stumbled. You wept. You doubted. But you kept walking. And that is what makes you different. Others break under the weight of betrayal. Others grow bitter after rejection. But you allowed the pain to press you deeper into the presence of God. That is why you shine now. That is why your spirit carries an authority that cannot be faked. Every test was a refiner's fire, stripping away illusion and exposing the strength that was always inside you. Where others see weakness, heaven sees resilience. Where others only remember your tears, God remembers your prayers. And those prayers were not in vain. They were seeds. And the harvest is now rising to meet you. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." Hear that truth. Chosen one, what felt unbearable at the time was actually working for your good. What you thought would destroy you was producing eternal glory inside you. You may have thought the tests were punishment, but in reality, they were evidence that you were chosen to carry something greater than most could ever imagine. Now, the world will see the fruit of those years. The very people who underestimated you will witness the covenant blessing you are about to step into. And though envy will arise, though whispers may circle around you, none can deny the evidence of God's hand upon your life. The tests you endured are the proof of your authenticity. Anyone can shout faith when skies are clear, but you held on to faith in the storm. That is why you are entrusted with this next chapter. Chosen one, pause here and let this truth settle in. The pain you endured was not punishment, it was preparation. The fire you walked through did not burn you, it purified you. Every test was a testimony waiting to be revealed. And soon, when you stand beside your divine counterpart, when the covenant love that heaven promised is unveiled, you will look back and see clearly. None of it was wasted. Now, I want you to respond in faith. Type these 3 words in the comments. I endured well. By writing it, you are sealing your agreement with heaven's perspective. You are not just repeating words, you are proclaiming that you did not break under the weight of the test, that you survived the fire, and that you are ready for the blessing your endurance has birthed. When you type it, you're not only declaring your past victory, but also aligning your spirit for what's coming. This act becomes a prophetic stamp upon your journey, marking you as one who endured and one who is about to reap. Chosen one. The tests that once tormented you are now becoming your credentials. The rejection is turning into redirection. The heartbreak is turning into holy alignment. The loneliness is turning into legacy. Nothing was wasted, and nothing will be lost. You endured well, and because of that, you are now trusted with the kind of love that is not ordinary, the kind of union that is not fragile, the kind of partnership that shakes the kingdom of darkness itself. So lift your head. Let the past be what it was, a training ground. Let the scars be what they are, proof of survival. And let your spirit rejoice, for the tests have ended, and the reward is near. Chosen one. All along the way, whispers have followed you. Dreams, visions, strange alignments, even repeated numbers appearing before your eyes. None of these were accidents. Heaven has been sending you prophetic confirmations, signaling that you are not lost, that you are not forgotten, and that destiny is unfolding exactly as written. How many times did you feel an unexplainable pull, as though someone unseen was guiding you towards something greater? How many moments did you experience déjà vu, as though your spirit remembered what your mind could not? These were not coincidences. They were divine fingerprints, gentle reminders from God that your story was always under His watchful care. When you woke from dreams of companionship, when you felt the touch of peace after weeping yourself to sleep, when strangers spoke words that pierced straight into your heart, those were prophetic breadcrumbs laid out so you would not lose hope. For though the wait felt endless, God was speaking all along, preparing you for the arrival of your covenant partner. Chosen one. You must understand the nature of prophecy. It does not always appear as thunder. Often, it comes as a whisper, a flicker, a quiet knowing. God chose to speak to you in hidden ways because He wanted your heart to learn how to recognize Him without the noise of the world drowning His voice. That is why you were given visions others laughed at, dreams others dismissed, and signs others called just coincidence. You were training to discern heaven's language, and now you begin to see how the puzzle pieces fit. That number that kept following you, that verse that kept appearing, that recurring image in your mind's eye, they were all pointing to this moment. They were pointing to the promise of union, to the soulmate who carries the same divine imprint, the same covenant fire. Chosen one, never doubt again that heaven speaks, for it was heaven that led Abraham out under the stars to promise descendants as countless as the sky. It was heaven that placed dreams inside Joseph, dreams that carried him from the pit to the palace. It was heaven that whispered to Samuel while the world slept, and it has been heaven speaking to you all along, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. Amos chapter 3, verse 7. Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing His plan to His servants, the prophets. This is why you have felt those inner stirrings, why visions have brushed your mind in moments of silence. You were not imagining things. God was revealing the outline of His plan, giving you glimpses so that you would not faint along the way. He never left you wandering without direction. He left you clues, enough to keep your faith alive until the appointed hour. Chosen one, take courage in knowing that the voice of prophecy is still alive in your life. Every whisper was building your expectancy. Every dream was watering your hope. And every sign was preparing your spirit for recognition, because when your soulmate arrives, you will not simply know with your eyes, you will know with your spirit. The prophetic confirmations you have gathered through the years will suddenly align, forming a tapestry of proof that this is the one ordained for you. This is why your journey seemed filled with strange patterns others could not see. It is why you often felt alone, carrying secrets in your heart that you dared not share. But soon, those secrets will bloom into visible fruit. What was once hidden inside of you will become undeniable evidence before all, and you will realize that heaven was never silent. It was only speaking in a language meant for your spirit alone. Prophecy has always been the companion of the chosen. It is the reminder that you are part of a larger story, that your life is not a random collection of events, but a carefully woven masterpiece. And as the threads begin to show their design, you will see clearly. Your waiting, your wilderness, your tests, they were all prophetic in themselves, preparing you to step into the fullness of destiny. Chosen one, hold tightly to what you have already heard, for it will strengthen you in what you are about to encounter. The same God who whispered to you before will confirm to you again when your covenant partner arrives. You will not walk into this season confused. You will walk in certainty, carrying the knowledge that heaven has been guiding you every step of the way. So breathe deeply, for the signs you have carried, the whispers you have treasured, the dreams you have written down, they are not meaningless. They were prophecy, and prophecy always finds fulfillment. Chosen one, pause for a moment and imagine an orchestra. The violins wait in silence. The drums stay still. The flutes hold their breath. Then, with one subtle motion of the conductor's hand, every instrument comes alive in perfect harmony. That is what heaven has been doing with your life. The silence you endured was not emptiness. It was the pause before the grand symphony. And now, the conductor has raised his hand. Everything is aligning. Time, place, people, and purpose are moving together, orchestrated by the one who never misses a note. For too long, you may have felt like your story was scattered. Broken pieces here, unfinished melodies there. But behind the scenes, God has been arranging those fragments into a song of victory. Every delay was a note held for dramatic effect. Every heartbreak was a minor chord, adding depth. And now, the music swells the arrival of your soulmate. Your covenant partner is the crescendo heaven has been writing. Chosen one. Understand this truth. The love that is coming is not the product of chance meetings or human manipulation. It is heaven's orchestration. Just as rivers carve valleys and winds shape mountains, so has God been shaping both you and your partner for this appointed meeting. It could not have happened earlier, because the melody was not yet complete. But now, the song is ready to be played. Think of a potter at the wheel. The clay must be pressed, stretched, and spun before it becomes a vessel. You have been on that wheel. Shaped by the potter's hands, so too has your counterpart been shaped. And soon, the vessels will meet two carriers of destiny, fitted together for a purpose greater than either could carry alone. It was proclaimed in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Hear that. Chosen one, beautiful in its time, not rushed, not delayed, but perfectly aligned. Eternity itself was placed in your heart, which is why you always longed for something deeper, something more than fleeting connections. And now, the eternal plan is taking shape before your eyes. But understand this, just as a garden flourishes when tended, so too does this divine message flourish when it is shared. When you water it with faith, it grows in you. And when you scatter the seeds by sharing, it grows in others. If this word has stirred your spirit, let it not remain locked inside. Like a lamp placed on a hill, it shines brightest when it is seen by many. Chosen one. If the Spirit is moving you through these words, I humbly ask you to support this work by liking, by sharing, by subscribing. You are not merely clicking buttons, you are placing another log on the fire, ensuring the flame continues to burn and reach others who wander in darkness. Every share is like opening a window in a house filled with smoke, letting light and fresh air rush in. Every subscription is like planting another tree in a barren land, creating shade for those who will walk this road after you. And if your heart feels the nudge to give, to donate, know that it is more than a transaction. It is like pouring oil into a lamp so it may continue to shine. It is like placing bread into the hands of a hungry traveler. Your offering becomes part of the very orchestration God is conducting, turning personal transformation into a collective awakening. I speak these words with sincerity, not pressure, for support, given out of love, carries a fragrance heaven delights in. Whether it is through sharing this message with others, subscribing so you do not miss the next prophetic flow, or donating as the Spirit leads, you are participating in the symphony. You are adding your instrument to the great song heaven is playing over the chosen ones. And remember this, every act of generosity is multiplied. Just as a single drop creates ripples across a pond, so does your support. Send ripples into eternity. Perhaps someone far away, someone standing on the edge of giving up, will stumble upon this message because you shared it. Perhaps someone who has been crying in silence will finally see hope because your generosity kept this voice alive. Chosen one, the symphony is swelling. The potter has finished his shaping. The garden is ready for harvest. And soon, the one heaven has appointed for you will step into your life, not as a random accident, but as the perfect piece in heaven's orchestra. Until then, keep your spirit open, your faith steady, and your heart willing to participate in the divine flow. Chosen one, the time has come for the unveiling. What was once hidden behind the veil of silence is now stepping into the open. You have waited, you have endured, and now the reward approaches, not just a companion, but a covenant partner. Understand this well. Your soulmate is not being sent merely to fill empty space in your life. This union is heaven's assignment, a living covenant designed to advance the kingdom of God through love, strength, and unity. All along, you may have thought your longing for true connection was just a personal desire. In truth, that longing was prophetic. It was eternity, echoing inside your spirit, calling out for the one who carries the other half of your divine assignment. You were never designed to walk this path alone. You were built for covenant. And now, the unveiling begins. Chosen one. Think of a stage before the curtain rises. The actors wait. The audience holds its breath. The story is ready to unfold. Then, in one swift motion, the curtain is pulled back, and everything that was hidden comes into view. That is what heaven is doing for you now. For years, the curtain remained closed, not because the play was cancelled, but because the timing was not right. Now, the curtain is rising, and your eyes will behold what your spirit has always known. Your destiny partner is here. This unveiling is not just about recognition, it is about assignment. You and your soulmate are not being brought together only to enjoy companionship, but to embody covenant where you were once weak alone. Together, you will be strong. Where your voice once trembled in isolation, together, your voices will roar. This is why the wait was long, why the tests were heavy, why the wilderness pressed you so hard, because the weight of this union required preparation. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Psalm chapter 37, verse 4, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." Chosen one. This word is alive for you now. The desires that once seemed so unreachable, the prayers you whispered into your pillow, the tears you hid from others, all of it has been seen. And because you chose to delight yourself in the Lord, even in the wilderness, even in the heartbreak, He now fulfills the deepest desire of your heart with divine precision. Do not mistake this unveiling as a simple answer to loneliness. It is far more sacred. Heaven has chosen to entrust you with a love that reflects covenant, a love that carries weight, a love that serves as a witness to those around you. People will look at your union and see evidence of God's timing, His faithfulness, and His power to restore. Your love will not just be romance, it will be testimony. Chosen one. I want you to pause and let this reality settle. The unveiling is not coming. The unveiling has already begun. Even now, Circumstances are aligning. Hearts are being prepared. Conversations are being woven into place. Paths that once seemed separate are bending toward one another, guided by unseen hands. The moment you thought would never arrive is at the door. And here is your prophetic act for this moment. Type 77 inches, the comments. Do not dismiss this as empty ritual. The number 77 symbolizes divine completion and spiritual alignment. By writing it, you are declaring that your preparation has reached fullness, that your spirit stands ready for the unveiling, and that you are stepping into alignment with the covenant God has written over your life. This simple act becomes your seal of agreement with heaven's orchestration. It is like planting a flag on the mountain of your destiny, marking the territory as yours by divine right. Every time you type it, every time you see it, let it remind you that the wait is fulfilled. The curtain is rising, and the unveiling is taking place. Heaven does not forget. Heaven does not delay without reason. And heaven has not overlooked you. You are chosen for this. Soon, the one who carries the echo of your soul will stand before you. And when your eyes meet, there will be no doubt. Your spirit will recognize them, not because of physical features or worldly measures, but because covenant speaks louder than appearance. Deep calls unto deep. Spirit recognizes spirit. And love, when orchestrated by heaven, leaves no room for confusion. Chosen one, rejoice in this unveiling. Your wilderness prepared you. Your tests refined you. Your prophetic signs sustained you. And now, your covenant love is being revealed. Walk forward with expectation, for heaven's curtain has been pulled back, and your future has stepped into view. Chosen one, when the moment comes, you will not need to force recognition. You will not need to overthink, to question endlessly, or to fear deception. The spirit within you will bear witness, and the deep longing you have carried will suddenly be answered with clarity. The recognition moment is unlike anything else. It is not of the mind, but of the soul. For years you have encountered people who seemed promising, yet something always felt off. You tried to convince yourself that maybe they could be the one. Maybe the puzzle could fit if only you trimmed the edges. But your spirit never rested. That unease was divine protection. A whisper telling you, this is not covenant. This is not destiny. And so, the cycle repeated temporary connections that could never satisfy the eternal ache in your chest. Chosen one. When you meet the one ordained for you, all of that ends. There will be no forcing. No trying to shrink yourself. No compromise. It will feel like breathing after holding your breath for too long. Recognition will not come from their charm or their beauty. Though those may be present, recognition will come from the resonance within your spirit. It is the sound of eternity. One flame finding the other flame. Two souls, long prepared, finally colliding in holy timing. Think of how a lock and key function. There are countless keys in the world, but only one shaped to fit perfectly into the grooves of that lock. Other keys may slide in, but they cannot turn. They cannot unlock the door. But when the right key is placed, it moves with ease. The door swings open. That is how recognition feels. No struggle. No forcing, only divine alignment. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, John chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me." Chosen one. This is how recognition works. Just as sheep know the shepherd's voice, so will your spirit know the voice, the presence, the essence of the one chosen for you. You will not be confused, because your heart has already been trained in the wilderness to discern truth from imitation, and the voice of covenant will cut through every other noise, calling to the deepest parts of you. There is a mystery in this recognition. Sometimes it comes in a single glance, a sudden stillness that overtakes you when your eyes meet. Other times it unfolds slowly, like the rising of dawn, where every moment of knowing them feels like a memory you are rediscovering. But in both cases, the truth remains. You will know. Do not fear missing it. Chosen one. Do not let anxiety cloud your spirit. The same God who whispered through signs, through dreams, through prophetic confirmations will also make this moment unmistakable. Your recognition will not be fragile. It will be fortified by the very hand of heaven. And when that recognition arrives, a peace will settle over you. This peace will not be fragile, nor dependent on circumstances. It will be the peace that surpasses understanding, the peace that tells you, this is safe, this is covenant, this is home. That peace will silence every past voice of doubt, every wound from betrayal, every fear of rejection. You will realize that the wait was not a cruel delay, but a shield that preserved you for this exact moment. Chosen one. Recognition is not about sparks, it is about roots. Anyone can create sparks for a moment, but only the one heaven sends can create roots that last. Recognition is not about being swept into a shallow tide, but about being anchored to someone who holds you steady through storms. This is why the Spirit within you will confirm it, not with chaos, but with calm, not with confusion, but with clarity. When the recognition moment comes, you may not even need words at first. Your soul will speak without speaking. Your eyes will say what your mouth cannot, and your heart will whisper. This is the one. That is the beauty of covenant. It transcends the natural and enters the eternal. So hold steady. Chosen one. Your spirit has been trained for this. Do not doubt your ability to recognize. Trust the one who has guided you this far. Just as a child knows the sound of their mother's voice, even in a crowded room, so will you know the presence of your destiny partner when they appear. Chosen one. The recognition moment will be holy, and when it comes, you will not need to question, you will simply know. Chosen one. When the unveiling brings you into union, the atmosphere itself will shift. This is not ordinary affection, not a fleeting romance that burns quickly and fades into ash. No, this is the ignition of two flames that heaven has been guarding, shaping, and preparing. When they meet, the fire will not only warm you, it will radiate outward, piercing through darkness and igniting transformation wherever you walk together. Think about the nature of fire. A single flame may flicker and seem fragile, but when joined with another, it grows stronger, steadier, more resistant against wind and storm. This is what your union will become, not two separate candles, but one blazing torch. You and your soulmate are not just being joined for your own joy, but to illuminate paths for others who have been stumbling in the shadows. There is something terrifying about light to those who dwell in darkness. This is why your presence alone has always unsettled some people. And when your flame unites with another chosen one's flame, the intensity will disrupt even more. Do not be surprised if resistance arises, if envy stirs, if attacks come. It is because your combined light will burn through lies, expose deception, and awaken those who have been asleep. Chosen one, remember how you once felt weary, carrying your light alone. There were days you questioned if it was worth it, nights when the flame felt faint, yet still you endured, protecting that spark with everything you had. And now, as your soulmate arrives, you will feel the strength of shared fire. Where once you carried the torch alone, now you will stand beside another whose flame was forged in their own wilderness. Together, you will blaze with a power neither of you could have held alone. The voice of God thundered in the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 30. How could one man chase 1,000, or two put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock had sold them, unless the Lord had given them up? Chosen one. This is the mathematics of heaven. One alone can stand strong, but two together multiply exponentially. This is why the union is powerful. It is not simply addition, it is multiplication. Your prayers together will shake foundations. Your faith together will move mountains. Your purpose together will advance the kingdom of God in ways you never imagined possible. Consider the eagle. Alone it soars with majesty, but when joined in flight with its mate, they create patterns in the sky that no other creature can imitate. Their bond becomes a display of strength and grace woven together. So too will your covenant become a visible sign to the world, a declaration of what divine alignment looks like. This power of two flames is not only for the world outside, it is also for the healing within. Where you once carried wounds alone, your soulmate's presence will become balm. Where you once felt the weight of intercession in isolation, you will now carry it together. Their words will steady your trembling. Their prayers will cover your weakness. Their presence will remind you that you are never again alone. But make no mistake, this love is not fragile. It has been tested before it was even revealed. Both of you have endured refining fires. Both of you have walked through lonely nights. Both of you have carried crosses the world did not see. That is why, when the flames unite, they will not flicker out under pressure. They will rise higher, stronger, steadier, burning with the kind of intensity only heaven can sustain. Chosen one. Prepare yourself for this divine ignition. It will not look like the shallow sparks of the past. It will not drain you, confuse you, or leave you empty. This fire will energize, clarify, and fill you. It will feel like a wellspring within you, being stirred by another wellspring, overflowing into rivers that cannot be contained. This is why the wait was so necessary. Had this fire been given to you before you were ready, it could have consumed you. But now, after the wilderness, after the tests, after the refining, you are strong enough to carry it. And so is your partner. Both flames had to be prepared before heaven could allow them to merge. Chosen one. Do not fear the power of this fire. Do not shrink from it, thinking it too much. Embrace it, for it was always your destiny. You were chosen not just to carry light, but to become part of a blazing union that will testify of God's power to join what no darkness can separate. The world has yet to see the brilliance of your combined flame, but soon it will, and when it does, no shadow will be able to withstand its glow. chosen one. Once the flames of covenant love ignite, the world around you will not always celebrate. In fact, some will feel threatened, others envious, and still others will try to interfere. This is the reality of sacred bonds, what heaven ordains. Hell resents. That is why you must learn not only to rejoice in the gift of this union, but also to guard it with all diligence. Your covenant love is not like an ordinary relationship. It is a fortress built by divine hands. But like every fortress, it must be defended, not through paranoia or fear, but through wisdom, prayer, and discernment. For when two chosen ones unite, the enemy sees a greater threat than before. Alone, you were already dangerous. Together, you are unstoppable. This is why distractions will arise, why false voices may whisper, why old wounds may try to resurface. Guarding the sacred bond means refusing to let trivial arguments become dividing walls. It means choosing unity over pride, forgiveness over stubbornness, prayer over silence. The enemy knows he cannot destroy what God has joined, but he will attempt to weaken it by planting seeds of misunderstanding or offense. That is why your love must remain rooted in something greater than feelings. It must remain anchored in covenant. Chosen one. Remember that envy will sometimes circle you. There will be those who cannot stand to see you walk in joy after your wilderness. They will wonder why your prayers were answered while theirs seemed delayed. And some may even try to sow doubt into your mind, asking if what you have is too good to be true. Do not allow their words to take root. You know the truth, because you will have the witness of the Spirit confirming it inside you. The ancient words recorded in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. Abuve alelse, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This guarding does not mean building walls of isolation. It means staying alert, choosing carefully what you allow into your spirit, and protecting the covenant bond from unnecessary intrusion. It means prioritizing prayer together, keeping communication open, and never letting outside voices outweigh the voice of God within your union. Imagine your love as a vineyard. A vineyard flourishes when it is tended, but if left unguarded, foxes slip in to ruin the vines. Guarding your bond means watching for the little foxes, small compromises, unchecked frustrations, lingering doubts that, if ignored, can spoil what was meant to bear much fruit. Chosen one. Guarding does not come from fear, but from value. You protect what is precious, you guard what is sacred, and your covenant partner is a sacred trust from heaven. Together, you must treat this bond not as fragile, but as holy. Holiness requires protection. Holiness requires reverence. And now I call you to respond in faith. Type these 3 words in the comments. I guard covenant. Do not take this lightly. This is more than a phrase. It is a declaration. By writing it, you are committing your heart to vigilance, declaring that you will not let envy, distraction, or deception weaken what God has entrusted to you. You are aligning yourself with heaven's call to protect the bond that is about to manifest in your life. When you type it, let it seal something within you, the awareness that what is coming is too precious to treat casually, too holy to expose carelessly, too powerful to leave unprotected. This prophetic act is your agreement that you will guard the vineyard of love, keeping it free from the foxes, shielding it from storms, and tending it with faith. Chosen one. Guarding your covenant does not mean living in constant battle. It means living in constant awareness. Awareness that your love is bigger than the two of you. Awareness that the union carries purpose beyond romance. Awareness that the enemy fears your unity and therefore will try to distract you. With awareness comes wisdom, and with wisdom comes victory. Stand firm. Beloved, guard what heaven is entrusting to you, and as you do, you will find that the very act of guarding strengthens the bond. You will not walk in fear, but in triumph, knowing that what God joins together, no one and nothing can tear apart. Chosen one. When divine love is unveiled, and when two flames burn as one, the results are never small. What God joins together never remains hidden. It multiplies. It expands. It creates fruit far beyond the two of you. This is the truth about covenant. It is not just about companionship. It is about fruitfulness. Your union will birth more than comfort. It will birth vision. It will birth courage. It will birth assignments that touch lives you may never meet. Just as a river flowing through barren land causes the soil to awaken with life, so too will your covenant awaken dormant seeds in others. Together, you will become a stream in the desert. Proof that God restores. Proof that God fulfills. Proof that God's timing is perfect. Fruitfulness takes many forms. For some, it is children born into the legacy of covenant. For others, it is the birthing of missions, ministries, businesses, and creative works that bless the world. But in every case, fruitfulness flows from union. Alone, you carried fragments of the vision. Together, you will carry the whole, as was declared in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the coppice, fish in the sea, and birds in the sky." Creatures. Chosen one. Hear that again. God blessed them. The blessing multiplies when two are united in His will. And this blessing is not limited to physical offspring. It extends to influence, to impact, to destiny. What you plant together will not remain small. It will grow into a tree of life, providing shade and nourishment for many. Think of a lamp. Alone, it casts light into one room, but when joined with another lamp, the light doubles, then spreads into hallways, then into corners where shadows once hid. Your covenant will function like this. What once seemed like a small circle of influence will suddenly stretch far beyond your reach. People will be drawn not just to your love, but to the life that flows out of it. This is why it is vital to nurture the bond, to water it daily with prayer, communication, and intentional love. Just as a farmer tends his field with patience, so must you tend your covenant with care. Neglect leads to weeds, but attention brings abundant harvest. And now, chosen one, allow me to speak to your heart sincerely. Messages like these are seeds. They are planted in your spirit so they may grow into faith, into strength, into action. But seeds need tending. For this work to continue reaching you and others like you, it requires the flow of support. When you choose to like this message, it is like adding water to the seed. It helps it grow. When you share it, it is like scattering seeds into other fields. Someone else in silence and pain may find hope because of your action. When you subscribe, it is like joining a vineyard, becoming part of the ongoing harvest, ensuring you do not miss the next wave of fruitfulness. And if you feel led to donate, know this: your giving is not a mere transaction. It is like placing oil into a lamp so the flame may keep burning. It is like placing bread into the hands of a hungry traveler, enabling them to continue their journey with strength. Every act of support becomes part of the fruitfulness heaven desires, not just in your life, but in the lives of countless others who are touched by these words. Chosen one, your covenant will change lives. But even now, your small acts of faithfulness, supporting, sharing, giving are already changing lives. You may never meet the person who is saved from despair because of your share. You may never see the face of the one who regains hope because your generosity kept this message alive. But heaven sees, heaven records, heaven multiplies. So let your heart respond as it feels led, not with pressure, but with love, not with compulsion, but with joy. For every seed you plant, heaven brings a harvest. Chosen one, fruitfulness is your destiny, not small fruit, not fragile fruit, but lasting fruit that endures. And as you step into covenant with your soulmate, you will see that this fruit multiplies, rippling outward, touching lives, and leaving a legacy that will echo long after you. Chosen one, covenant love does not only bring joy and companionship, it carries the power to break what has haunted your family line for generations. This is the mystery of divine partnership. It is not simply about the present moment, but about rewriting history itself. Through your union, cycles that tormented your bloodline will be broken, and blessings long withheld will finally be released. Think for a moment about the patterns you have seen in your lineage. Perhaps it was cycles of broken marriages, cycles of poverty, cycles of betrayal, cycles of rejection, cycles of silence where the voice of God seemed distant from your family line. These patterns were not random, they were strongholds. They were chains that traveled down generations, seeking to grip you as well, yet you resisted. And now, with the covenant bond you are about to enter, those chains will finally shatter. Chosen one, curses are not merely words spoken, they are agreements, often made in darkness, that attempt to pass from parent to child, from one generation to the next. But covenant love functions as a holy interruption. It is a divine enough, a line drawn in the sand where heaven declares, this stops here. When two chosen ones join in agreement under God's covering, their union becomes a hammer that smashes ancient chains. You may not realize it now, but the reason your wilderness was so intense, the reason your tests were so severe, was because you were marked to be the breaker. The enemy fought you fiercely, not because of who you were in isolation, but because of what your union would accomplish. Once joined, you and your partner will not only walk in blessing, you will release blessing into the generations that come after you. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. Chosen one, hear this with authority. No weapon, not even those forged in the past, can prosper against what God has decreed. The heritage of the chosen is not defeat, not failure, not endless cycles of brokenness. The heritage of the chosen is vindication, freedom, and victory. And through your covenant union, this heritage will now flow freely into your bloodline. Imagine a river flowing for centuries, always bending the same way. Then suddenly, a great stone is placed, redirecting the flow into new territory. That is what your covenant will become, a stone of divine intervention, redirecting the flow of your family's story into new waters of blessing and abundance. Where others before you drowned, you will walk on dry ground. Where others were silenced, your voices will ring with truth. Where others fell into despair, you will rise with joy. Do not underestimate the power of this shift. Children yet unborn will live differently because of the covenant you are about to walk into. Nieces, nephews, and those in your spiritual family will see a model of holy love and know that it is possible for them too. What once seemed unreachable will suddenly become accessible. Your union becomes not just personal fulfillment, but generational redemption. Chosen one, reflect on this deeply. The love you are about to receive is not small. It is heavy with purpose. It carries an anointing to heal wounds you did not cause, to restore breaches you did not create, to release blessings that others before you could not reach. You are not simply inheriting love, you are inheriting authority to transform a bloodline. There is power in the word covenant. Covenant means unbreakable, binding, sacred. When God makes covenant, He never fails. And when He joins two chosen ones in covenant, He embeds His promise into their very union. That promise is bigger than romance. It is redemption. It is the rewriting of history. It is the birthing of a new legacy. Chosen one. This is why your love story matters. It is not only about you, it is about those who will come after you. Those who will benefit from battles you already fought and won. Every tear you cried was watering the soil of a future you will not only enjoy but also pass down. Every prayer you whispered was laying foundations for a house that generations will live in. The curses are breaking. The chains are falling. The strongholds are crumbling. And as your covenant partner steps into your life, you will see clearly that your union was always about more than companionship. It was about destiny. Chosen one. The years of loss. The seasons of emptiness. The moments when you felt stripped of everything, none of that will remain without answer. Heaven is not unjust. Every tear, every disappointment, every betrayal has been accounted for. And now, as your covenant love steps into view, you will witness the mystery of restoration. What was stolen will be returned. What was broken will be rebuilt. What was denied will be repaid in double measure. You once thought restoration meant simply receiving back what you lost. But restoration in the hands of God is never a mere replacement. It is always multiplication. He does not return you to where you were. He lifts you higher. He does not give you the same. He gives you better. And this covenant love, this destiny partnership, is heaven's declaration that you will not leave your wilderness empty-handed. Think of Job, who lost everything: family, possessions, health. Yet when his test ended, the word records that God restored to him double of all he had before. That is not just a story, it is a principle. Heaven does not end with subtraction. Heaven ends with abundance. And you, chosen one, are about to step into that same principle. It is written in the book of Joel. Joel chapter 2, verse 25. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten, the great locust and the young locust, the other locusts and the locust swarm, my great army that I sent among you. Chosen one, let this echo in your spirit. I will restore the years. Not just moments, not just things, but years. The wasted seasons, the stolen time, the days when you felt your youth, your opportunities, your joy slipping away. He promises to restore even that. Restoration is not limited to objects. It extends to time itself. What you thought you missed, you will encounter in multiplied measure. This covenant partner is part of that restoration. They are not arriving as a replacement for the people who hurt you. They are arriving as the fulfillment of what you were always promised. Every counterfeit only proved the authenticity of what was still to come. Every heartbreak only prepared your heart to treasure this love without taking it for granted. And now, the crown of restoration is being placed on your head, not as a fragile ornament, but as a permanent seal of heaven's faithfulness. Chosen one. Pause and imagine this. You once walked with hands empty, pockets bare, heart weary. Now you will walk with arms full, carrying joy, carrying love, carrying purpose. Where you once felt diminished, you will feel multiplied. Where you once felt forgotten, you will feel chosen. That is the power of divine restoration. It does not just repair, it glorifies. But hear me well, this restoration is not only for your benefit, it is a witness. People who once mocked you will see the glory of God resting on your life. Those who once pitied you will stand astonished. They will realize that the hand of the Lord has always been upon you, that his silence was strategy, and that his delays were design. Your restoration will become a testimony that no wilderness lasts forever, no storm is permanent, and no loss is beyond redemption. Chosen one. Now is the time to mark this truth with a prophetic act. In the comments, type boldly the number 999. This is not superstition, it is declaration. The number 999 represents finality and completion, the end of old cycles and the beginning of restoration. By writing it, you are proclaiming that the season of loss has ended, that the wilderness has expired, and that restoration has already begun in your life. It is your way of saying, I agree with heaven. I step into fullness. I claim the crown of restoration. Do not underestimate this act. When you type it, you are aligning with the very word that has been spoken over you. You are sealing your faith that the wasted years will be redeemed, that the tears will be turned into laughter, and that your crown will no longer be of ashes, but of glory. Chosen one. Restoration is here. The locusts cannot have the last word. The losses cannot define your story. The crown of restoration rests on your head now, and no hand can remove it. Wear it with boldness. Walk in it with authority. And let your life declare what heaven has done, that God restores, that he multiplies, and that he always saves the best for last. Chosen one. Walking in covenant love does not mean that every day will be free from challenge. In fact, the very weight of your assignment may draw resistance, storms, and battles designed to test the foundation of your union. But here lies the secret. Faith that has been tested is faith that cannot be shaken. And now, in this new chapter of your life, your call is to walk in unshakable faith. No matter what may rise against you, you have already proven your endurance in the wilderness. You learned to trust when nothing made sense, to hold on when everything told you to let go. That same endurance will now sustain you in this covenant. But this time, you are not walking alone. You will stand side by side with your partner, facing storms together. And two standing in faith are a fortress the enemy cannot break. Walking in unshakable faith means refusing to let fear rule. It means remembering that no matter how great the waves, the one who calms the storm is still in your boat. It means choosing to look at challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for testimony. Every trial you face together becomes a chance to prove that God's hand rests upon your union. Chosen one. Faith is not built on what you see, but on what you know. And what you know is this: God has written your story, and His word does not return void. If He has joined you, if He has crowned you with restoration, then no force in heaven or on earth can undo it. Fear may whisper, but faith will roar. Doubt may knock, but faith will bar the door. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. This is the posture you must carry. Even when the road ahead is unclear, you walk with assurance. Even when challenges come, you walk with confidence. Not because you know every detail, but because you know the author of your story, and His plans are never to harm you, but to prosper you, to give you hope and a future. Think of a tree planted by rivers of water. When storms come, its branches sway. Its leaves may be shaken, but its roots hold firm. Why? Because its nourishment comes from deeper sources than surface rain. So too must your faith be rooted, not in circumstances, not in emotions, but in the eternal word that sustains you. Walking in unshakable faith does not mean ignoring reality. It means interpreting reality through the lens of promise. Where others see obstacles, you see stepping stones. Where others see delay, you see preparation. Where others see impossibility, you see the canvas for miracles. This is the lens that will keep your spirit steady, no matter what may arise. Chosen one. Let your union be anchored in prayer. Prayer is not only petition, it is communion. The breath of faith. When challenges arise, do not let silence grow between you and your partner. Let your voices rise together, declaring what God has spoken. For when two agree on earth as touching anything, it is done by their Father in heaven. This agreement will be the weapon that keeps your covenant unshaken. And remember, walking in faith does not mean walking without scars. There will be moments of weakness, moments of weariness, but even then, your faith does not crumble, because it is not sustained by your strength, but by His. Unshakable faith is not about never trembling, it is about never falling, because even when you stumble, His hand upholds you. Chosen one. You are being called to live as a testimony of trust. Others will look at your union and wonder how you stand so strong when storms rage. They will ask why you are not broken by what breaks others. And your answer will always be the same. It is because of the God who holds you, the covenant that covers you, and the faith that anchors you. So, rise. Beloved, walk with your head lifted, your steps steady, your heart anchored. You have been prepared for this. You have been chosen for this. Your faith has carried you this far. And now it will carry you further still into the fullness of destiny, into the fruitfulness of covenant, into the unshakable future God has written for you. Chosen one. The story of your covenant love will not resemble fragile fairy tales or fleeting romances. What you are stepping into is not built on shallow attraction or temporary excitement. It is a warrior love story, one written in fire, sealed in tears, tested in storms, and crowned in victory. This is not the soft love that bends at the first sign of pressure. It is the kind that endures, that fights, that stands unbroken when the battlefield clears. Think back on your life. Every heartbreak you endured, every betrayal you survived, every lonely night when you clung to faith, all of these were training grounds. They were not meaningless pain. They were the forge that hardened your spirit, preparing you to love with strength instead of desperation, to remain faithful when others falter, to build covenant instead of chasing comfort. Your partner has endured the same. Do not imagine that they are arriving untouched by fire. They too have carried their cross, wept their silent tears, fought their hidden battles, and that is why the two of you, when joined, will not collapse under pressure. You will not be naive dreamers stumbling at the first sign of resistance. You will be warriors who recognize the battlefield and fight together, back to back. Shields raised, swords drawn, knowing that victory belongs to the Lord. The Word of God declares in the book of Romans chapter 8, verse 37, "No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us." This is the foundation of your love. More than conquerors, not barely surviving. Not just enduring, but overcoming with authority. Your covenant is not built to retreat. It is built to advance. Where others see opposition, you will see opportunity. Where others give up, you will press forward. And this endurance, this resilience, will make your love unshakable. Consider the story of Ruth and Boaz. Ruth carried grief, loss, and uncertainty, yet she chose loyalty and faith. Boaz carried integrity and strength, and together they forged a union that carried destiny far beyond themselves. Their story was not fragile. It was forged in hardship and sealed by faithfulness. Yours will carry the same essence, not fragile affection, but warrior love that breaks curses, builds legacy, and testifies of God's power to redeem. Chosen one. This warrior love does not mean endless struggle. It means unwavering commitment. It means looking at one another in moments of weakness and saying, "We will not let go." It means covering one another in prayer when the other is weary. It means protecting one another from the lies of the enemy and from the weight of the world. This love does not flee at the first sign of hardship. It grows stronger under pressure. And because of this, your love will be a beacon to others. People will see the way you endure together and realize that holy love is possible. They will look at your covenant and recognize that it is not a fairy tale, it is reality. Rooted in faith, strengthened by resilience, and marked by victory. Chosen one. This is why your love story will terrify darkness. For every battle you endured alone, now you will fight together. for every attack that tried to silence you. Now, 2 voices will roar in prayer, for every chain that once bound your family. Now, 2 sets of hands will break them. Warrior love multiplies strength, multiplies faith, multiplies victory. So prepare yourself for this reality. Do not expect ease without effort, nor joy without endurance. Expect instead a story written in both beauty and battle, in both laughter and labor. For this is the pattern of covenant love. It carries the fragrance of sacrifice and the crown of glory. Chosen one. When people ask about your love story, you will not tell them of perfection. You will tell them of persistence. You will not describe a path free from storms. You will describe a faith that held through storms. And in doing so, your testimony will not only glorify God, but also strengthen those who are weary, giving them hope that love like this is real and possible. Your covenant is a warrior's story, and it will end not in defeat, not in compromise, but in everlasting victory. Chosen one. There will come a moment when your story will no longer be confined to whispers of hope or private prayers in the night. It will roar. Your testimony will become thunder across valleys where others have despaired. Your love, your endurance, your covenant, these will not remain hidden. They will stand as a living altar of God's faithfulness, a declaration that what He promises, He fulfills. Testimonies are not just words, they are living proof. When someone sees the scar on a healed wound, they believe healing is possible. When someone tastes fruit from a once barren tree, they know restoration is real. So too will your testimony operate. The world will look at you and your partner and realize that true covenant love is not only possible but present, alive, and powerful. This is why the battles were so fierce against you. The enemy knew that if you survived the wilderness, if you endured the fire, your testimony would shake others free. And he was right. You endured. And now your life will echo freedom for countless others. The Apostle Paul proclaims in Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11, they triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Chosen one. Your testimony is more than a story, it is a weapon. When spoken, it pierces despair. When shared, it builds faith. When lived out in love, it disarms lies. The roar of your testimony will cause chains to break in people you may never even meet. That is the weight of your victory. Imagine your life as a lighthouse on a stormy coast. Alone, you once flickered, struggling to stay lit against the wind. But now, with covenant love beside you, the flame burns steady, sending a beam across miles of darkness. Ships lost in stormy seas will find their way because of the light shining from your testimony. This is the impact of what God is about to display through you. But lighthouses do not shine for themselves, they shine for others. And that is why I speak to you now about the importance of sharing, supporting, and sustaining this very flow of words. Each like you give is like polishing the glass of the lighthouse, making the light clearer. Each share is like sending that beam across wider waters, reaching further than before. Each subscription is like strengthening the foundation of the lighthouse so it cannot topple in storms. And if you feel led to donate, see it not as a burden, but as oil poured into the lamp. Without oil, even the strongest flame will fade. But with oil, the fire burns without ceasing. guiding countless travelers to safety. Your generosity is oil, sustaining this voice, ensuring that testimonies continue to roar into the hearts of those still wandering. Chosen one, understand the sacred weight of this. Your support is not about building numbers, it is about building altars. Every act of engagement is a stone laid, an altar rising, where countless souls will encounter God's presence through words spoken in season. Your actions amplify, not me, but the message itself. And I invite you also to comment, to write your own words below. Let the space beneath this message become a field of testimonies, a gathering of voices proclaiming what God has done. When you share your words, you release healing to someone else. You may never know whose eyes fall upon your comment, but heaven will know, and it will multiply the impact. Chosen one, your testimony will roar, but it does not roar alone. It roars in harmony with others who believe, others who type, others who share, others who give. Together, the sound becomes thunder, shaking valleys of despair into mountains of hope. So let your life shine. Let your support be sincere, and let your words be shared boldly. For when all is said and done, your testimony will not just be personal, it will be eternal, echoing long after you, carried on the winds of faith, fueled by every act of love and generosity poured into this work. Chosen one, covenant love is not only about the present joy or the sweetness of companionship, it is about vision that stretches far beyond today. This is eternal covenant mindset, seeing your union not as a temporary shelter, but as an unshakable house built to last through storms, generations, and even into eternity. When God brings two chosen ones together, He is not merely answering prayers for comfort. He is establishing a foundation for legacy. This means every choice you make as a couple, every battle you win together, every prayer you release, side by side, all of it plants seeds for generations yet to come. Legacy is not something you leave behind when life ends. Legacy is something you live now, something that echoes forward into eternity. Chosen one, too often the world treats love as something fragile, disposable, and temporary. But covenant love was never meant to be handled that way. Covenant is eternal because it mirrors the everlasting love of God. That is why your union carries such weight. It is designed to testify not just to your circle of friends, but to your children, to their children, and to every life you touch along the way. Think of Abraham and Sarah. Their covenant was not simply about their companionship, it was about birthing a nation. The promises given to Abraham extended far beyond his own lifetime, and in the same way, your union will carry ripple effects far beyond what you see now. What you establish in faith and love today will shape lives for years to come. The prophet Moses recorded in the book of Exodus chapter 20, verse 6, "But showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments." This is the eternal covenant mindset, not thinking only of your immediate comfort, but of 1,000 generations. When you walk faithfully in love and obedience, your covenant becomes a channel of blessing that flows forward into eternity. Chosen one, imagine your union as a great tree. The roots stretch deep, nourished by prayer, faith, and obedience. The trunk stands tall, unshaken by winds of circumstance, and the branches spread wide, offering shade, fruit, and shelter to all who come near. That tree does not live only for itself. It becomes a place of refuge for generations. Your covenant will function like this tree, standing as evidence of God's enduring faithfulness. To live with eternal covenant mindset means choosing daily to build, not just for today, but for tomorrow. It means resisting the temptation of momentary comfort in favor of long-term growth. It means asking not only, "What do I want?" but also, "What legacy are we creating?" Chosen one. This mindset transforms ordinary decisions into sacred acts. When you forgive quickly, you are building legacy. When you pray together, you are building legacy. When you choose unity instead of division, you are building legacy. Every act of covenant faithfulness today becomes a stone in the foundation of eternity. Do not underestimate how your covenant will impact others. There will be people who never meet you in person, but who will be strengthened by the story of your union. There will be children yet unborn who will walk with greater confidence because they stand on ground you fought for. There will be lives shifted because your love stood as a signpost pointing to the faithfulness of God. Chosen one. Eternal covenant mindset is about vision. Vision that sees beyond temporary struggle into eternal promise. Vision that sees beyond self into legacy. Vision that understands that love is not fragile. It is eternal when rooted in God. And so, as you step forward with your covenant partner, let this mindset guide you. Do not think small. Do not live only for today. Build as if generations depend on it, because they do. Live as if your love echoes in eternity, because it does. And trust that every act of faith, every prayer, every choice of unity will not be forgotten. They will be recorded in heaven, carried forward, and multiplied into 1,000 generations. Chosen one. This is the eternal weight of your love. Not temporary, not fragile, not fleeting. Eternal, unshakable, unstoppable. A covenant that reflects the very heart of God, stretching beyond your lifetime, echoing into forever. Chosen one. The story now comes full circle. The waiting has ended. The wilderness has prepared you. The tests have refined you. And the unveiling has begun. You stand in a moment where heaven itself leans close, placing upon you the final seal of blessing. This is not just the arrival of a soulmate, it is the fulfillment of destiny, the confirmation that everything you endured has meaning. For so long, you carried questions in your heart. Why the delay? Why the loneliness? Why the pain? Yet now, looking back, the answers begin to shine through. Without the delay, you would not have been ready. Without the loneliness, you would not have learned discernment. Without the pain, you would not have gained the strength to love deeply and covenantally. Every thread of your story was woven with precision. And now the tapestry reveals its beauty. Chosen one. You are crowned, not with crowns of the world that fade and tarnish, but with the crown of fulfillment. This crown signifies completion, testimony, and glory. You are no longer simply waiting, you are walking in what was promised. And this crown is not for display, it is for destiny. It is a sign that you are chosen to walk in love that reflects heaven, a love that terrifies darkness, heals wounds, and testifies of God's faithfulness. And do you see it now? Chosen one. The crown upon your head is not empty decoration, it carries authority. It is heaven's seal, announcing that you are no longer the one wandering, but the one reigning in purpose. Where once you walked in shadows, now you stride in light. This crown cannot be removed by betrayal, cannot be tarnished by envy, cannot be stolen by the enemy. It glows with the weight of every prayer you prayed and every storm you survived. Chosen one. The crown you wear is more than personal, it is generational. It speaks to your children, to those who will walk after you, declaring, "We are not cursed. We are chosen." It shifts atmospheres, commanding restoration where there was ruin, commanding life where there was death. This crown is the evidence that you are the fulfillment of promises spoken long before you were born. Stand tall beneath its weight, for it is not a burden, it is glory, and it fits you perfectly. We are reminded through the writings of Peter. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 4, "And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away." This crown is not fragile. It will not be stolen. It is eternal. And it rests upon your head now as evidence that your journey was not in vain. When others doubted you, when even you doubted yourself, God never doubted. He saw this moment before you were born. He saw the union, the legacy, the testimony, and he called you chosen, chosen one. Imagine yourself standing on a mountain peak after years of climbing through valleys, storms, and shadows. The view stretches endlessly before you, clear and breathtaking. You realize that every painful step upward was worth it. The crown on your head is not just a reward, it is the reminder that you reached the summit, that you endured to the end, that you are now equipped to shine with the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Your love story is not ordinary, it is sacred. It is not weak, it is powerful. It is not temporary, it is eternal. And now, as you walk into this union, you do so not as the same person who once wept alone, but as the one who rose, refined, restored, and crowned. You walk as a torchbearer, carrying a flame that no storm can extinguish. Chosen one. Your testimony will ripple outward. It will touch generations. It will remind others that waiting is not wasted, that wilderness is not punishment, that pain is not the end. You will stand as living proof that God is faithful, that His timing is perfect, and that His promises never fail. So, wear your crown with boldness. Walk in your covenant with humility and strength. Love deeply. Pray continually. Guard faithfully. And shine unashamedly. For your destiny is not only fulfilled, it is secured, sealed, and sanctified. The wait is finally over. You succeeded. A powerful soulmate has come. And now, beloved, the rest of your story begins. Chosen one. Now the message rests in your hands. The journey of 17 sections has been poured out like living water, and it was not random that you arrived here. You have walked through wilderness, endured testing, seen prophecy fulfilled, and now wear the crown of restoration. This is not the end, it is the beginning. But beginnings are strengthened when the fire is shared. Just as a flame spreads when it touches another candle, so too does this message burn brighter when you help carry it. If these words have stirred your spirit, let them not remain silent. Share them. You never know whose weary soul might be lifted because you chose to release the light you have received. A simple like is not small. It is like adding fuel to the fire so it can continue reaching further. A subscription is more than a button, it is you, stepping into covenant with this stream of messages, ensuring you remain connected as more flows. And if you feel led to give, to donate, see it not as loss, but as planting seed. Just as a farmer sows into fertile ground, expecting harvest, so does your generosity make this message flourish in places you may never see. Someone you will never meet may rise again because your seed kept the lamp burning. Finally, let the space below be filled with voices. Comment your reflections, your testimony, your declaration. Your words may become the spark that heals another. This community is not about one voice, but many, roaring together as proof that the chosen ones are rising. So, stand tall. Beloved, share, speak, support, and shine. The wait is over. The crown is yours, and the flame is spreading.